Hey guys, today's date is January the 8th, 2024, and I just found out that a movie I worked on a few years back called The System with Terrence Howard and Tyrese Gibson is now ranked number 2 on Hulu. It played in the theaters for a while and now I guess is making the rounds with subscription TV. And so it's on right now. I haven't seen it. Many other people have and told me that it's really good and they've enjoyed it. I worked on it in a couple of different capacities. Well, first of all, my son was the UPM of the movie. And then I was asked to come in and do sketches behind the scenes of the cast and crew just as they were working. During that time, at some point, I was asked to actually be in the movie. I was asked to be an extra. It's a prison movie, and I guess they thought I looked like a prisoner. So they asked me if I would put on prison garb and be in some of the scenes, which I was hesitant to do, not because I mind being in front of the camera. I've acted in television commercials and other things in the past, and so I enjoy doing it, but I enjoy drawing and painting from life, especially, far more. And so I was a little hesitant, but they said that they really needed me, so I was glad to do it. And I was told I was in a number of scenes, and as we look at the sketches that I made, we can talk about, or I'll try to remember to talk about some of the things that went on that surrounding me being in the movie. Okay, starting with this particular drawing. Now, none of these are in any particular order. I was just doing them in a sketchbook. This is a gray toned sketchbook, and it's done with, these were blue and white colored pencils. All of the figures that you see were done from life. And, but the lettering I did later. What I did was, as I was drawing people, I would, if I had the opportunity, take notes about them, our conversation or whatever. And it was actually in many ways like a diary. And it was really fun because it allowed me to interact with people in ways that I normally wouldn't be able to. And let's see, we wore actual Rankin County Detention Center uniforms with fairly open movement until a near tragic incident rejected us to one pod. Yeah, I think that somebody, I mean, we were actually in the prison. And there was one wing that was shut down for repairs. And so we were actually in the pods, and it wound up somebody, I think, carried a gun onto the campus. Now, not in the prison itself, but actually on the grounds, which is illegal. You don't do that. And I think someone had a pistol in their truck or something, or a shotgun or whatever. But anyway, it got discovered, and it was like, okay, no, you're going to be restricted now to a very particular section. The whole ambiance with the lettering, I did it kind of like, what's it called? Graffiti. So that it just took on a rough, grittier look. And I did these drawings, and then once everything was done, the movie was over, and I came to the studio, then I took and I started taking the notes that I had actually made on the sketches, and that's when I started fleshing them out and using sort of graffiti fonts to put people's names down and notes that I had made, just giving it more of an interesting air. And for you fellow artists, don't fall in love. There's a wonderful saying: never fall in love with something that can't love you back. And it's easy to do drawings like this and then get really attached to them and go, oh, I don't want to ruin it. Don't worry about it. Get in and use them and work with them. And that's where, as I was working on these sketches, these drawings, you can see that I took and spattered ink. I just took a shot, just spattered them with ink just to give it a more gritty feel. So, yeah, it says fellow inmates. They weren't real inmates. They were all either actors or just people that were pulled in off the street, I think. Samson and Brock. These were a pair of, I believe, German Shepherds that, let's see, alpha male German Shepherd from different litters, but still get along wonderfully. Okay, so that's where I met the animal trainer, and we were just talking about different things, and that's where he told me about these dogs, and the fact that even though they were I guess both alpha males from different litters, they still got along real well. So again, just taking notes like that to remind me, I would not have remembered that. I would not have remembered that at all. And so having those notes down, it really helped. Now, these are not super finished drawings, especially something like the animals that are moving around. But you do the best you can with what you got, and just, be bold with it. Now, this was really cool. I would not necessarily initiate any conversations. I would just sit down, sometimes way across a room, and I would just start sketching. Very often, people had no idea what I was doing, but eventually people catch on. They see this guy, and he's looking around, and he's looks like he's drawing, and they start talking to me. And I met Gina Green, and I've actually worked with Gina on other movies since then. But and she had worked with my son on some other movies, so he had pulled her in as a wardrobe mistress. And it was just so cool that I get to talking to these people and finding out about them. And it turns out she was a former WWF wrestler whose acting name, I guess you'd call it, was Cinnamon Twist. And at the time, she, her husband was still in the WWF. She's not in it anymore. I think, just injuries that built up over time. She just couldn't do it anymore. And so she's got a wonderful business as a wardrobe mistress for the movies, and she does some other things. So it's just really fun. And yes, Angela. Angela was playing a guard, and she was a real guard. So that was real neat that they actually used some real guards in the movie. These were some sweet, sweet, fun young people. I just thought the world of them. I like young people. I like young people who are, go-getters, and they're trying to make careers, and it just excites me to see young people who are dedicated to something. And they were the stuntmen and the stunt women. And Laura, I believe it's Laura, she is the girlfriend of the guy. I'm looking at these. I hadn't looked at these sketches in a long time, so we'll find out in a minute. But she in real life is the girlfriend of the guy who plays the prison. I can't think of the term. Whoever's the head of prisons. That's his real girlfriend, and she acted in the movie. I think she's the one she gets shot and killed. I can't remember in the movie. I think she's the one that gets shot. But we just all became friends. They were super sweet, and just talking to them about being stuntmen and stunt women and what their life is like. I think they're mostly from the Carolinas. This was a pretty young blonde girl that I think that's Jamie. Yeah, because that'd be Stefano and that would be Stephen. Jamie is or was in training. So all these others, they were really seasoned stunt people, but she was just coming along, just beginning to learn the ropes. So that was really, really fun to see and hear them talk and shop. Let's see. Trace, he's a sound mixer. I've worked with him on a number of movies. That's just one of the trucks that it's actually, I believe, a truck that actors and crew, well, people like the producers and all, can go in and stay and relax and change clothes and things like that. So it's not just a grip truck or anything like that. I don't know if I have this, but Hassel Cromer plays a riot guard. He was a former Army Infantry Ranger with the 2nd of the 54th Guard, but he's also a well-known actor. I did not realize that. Sometimes I'll interact with these people and we get to talking about something and we'll talk about whatever's interesting to them. And later, I believe my son told me, "Oh yeah, Dad, he's a big, real well-known actor." Well, I didn't know, so, but it didn't matter. I mean, everybody's really super nice. There are really no egos to deal with. Let's see. Eddie Budd, real nice guy. Worked with him on a number of movies. This was cool. Curtis Lyons. Curtis, this is where, I'd ask him, what do you do? What have you been in? He plays Luke Cage in The Defenders. He was in the Fantastic Four. He plays Silk in the movie. Oh, I said that I was asked to be in the movie, and it's like, well, whatever, that's fine. I was hoping that for the most part, I would just be in the background and get out of there. And invariably, they kept sticking me where the camera was, and so I would be in it, and they would shoot. They'd have to do reshoots, and I would be tied up with the shoots, and I kept trying to be out of the way so that I wouldn't be that involved. And like I said, invariably, they'd stick me where the camera was pointed right at me, so I couldn't go anywhere. So I'm stuck. I'm a part of that scene now. Curtis, I don't remember which gang, but me and some other white guys, we're down in the kitchen, and this is basically, overall, it's a black movie and it's a black prison movie. Well, most of the actors are black, and they're playing two different gangs. I think the Bloods or something, and the Guerrilla Nation. And he and one of the other stars, well, they get into a fight. And in the scene that I'm in the kitchen, I'm down there with another white guy, and we're washing dishes. Well, the next thing you know, we look up, and Silk is coming in. And he's getting ready to challenge this other black gang leader or whatever. Anyway, it was not a place where white boys wanted to be. So they tell me, you don't want to be there. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your rag and you're going to kind of toss it over to the guy beside you washing dishes, and gets his attention. And you guys look over and point, realize, oh my gosh, we're getting ready to have a gang war here. We don't want to be here. So we run off and run, across the camera a bunch of times. Let's see. Oh, Jeremy Pivens. Okay, that little girl I was talking about earlier, I think Laura, that's who I was talking about. Warden, prison warden. He plays the prison warden, a bad guy, but he's a real nice guy. And oh, I have to fix that. This was his stunt double. I'm not sure if I've got a sketch of Jeremy or not, but that's Jeremy Pivens' stunt double. And like I said, I never could tell them apart. They really looked a lot alike. Now, this guy was really fun. I talked to him for a long time. I sat down and I was sketching somebody across the room, and then he sat down across from me and he struck up the conversation. And I asked him, I said, well, you know, we introduced each other, and I said, well, Stephen, what do you do? And he says, I'm The Rock's stunt double in a whole bunch of movies. I don't know all the movies. I know he was in Black Adam. But what was really cool is when I was drawing, you know, I was asking him about his tattoo, and he said, and this is where I wrote down, his tattoo is legit. His dad is Maori. He just finished working on Black Adam. Stephen is from Hawaii. So that's where I think his mother is black and his father was Maori from the Philippines or something like that. And he comes from and lives in Hawaii. And again, I mean, we sat for a long time. After I got through drawing him, I would sit and be drawing other people, and so I'm always drawing when I'm talking to people, and it was just a blast getting to talk to him. Okay, the dungeon. That's the jib. A jib is a big old crane type thing that this has the weights. On the other end is the camera, and that thing, you know, this will fly the camera around there. Handles back here where a jib operator will hold on and he can move this around and move that camera. You know, depending on the jib, it can be 30 feet long, and so it can really reach out and interact with whatever scene is going on. The fight scenes that you see in the dungeon, that jib is what's used to you know, manipulate the camera, you know, have it going all over the place. So, and then there's the camera, or not the camera, the monitor, where the director and the cinematographer and everybody, that's where they're watching to see what's going on, what the camera's seeing. And yeah, it was really dark in there. It's hard to see. And of course, I don't put the people in, but there was like 80 people in this room, and so they were constantly getting in my way. And that's the thing, you know, if you're out sketching or painting from life, they gonna be people. There are people everywhere, and I don't mind it. As a matter of fact, if I go out painting, often I'll stick my easel just right in the middle of everybody and I start working. And I just enjoy the crowd. I don't mind people asking me questions. Usually there's the same question over and over again, but I don't care. It's fun. You interact with people. I really like that. And yes, they're bumping into your easel. They're knocking into you, and you just, or putting their finger on it. Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Sometimes they smear your stuff and you'd have to go in and correct it. But that's just all a part of this. If you're going to work from life, you just have to learn to do it. Just a whole bunch of people. That's Michael the gaff. That's Michael Brophy, good friend. He was the gaffer, and he and my son are actually business partners. First AD Panda. Yeah, okay, he's a real nice guy. I don't know these other guys. They were just extras in the movie. Script supervisor. Yeah, I don't know about that. Sometimes called scripty, a term not always appreciated. So apparently script supervisors don't always like being called scripties. I remember talking to him, and apparently that was something that he said. And again, that's what's so fun and so nice about scribbling down these notes, is that honestly, I wouldn't remember that he had said that. And so it was nice. Okay, no, I didn't draw this upside down. So let's flip it over. Okay, all right, there's Terrence Howard. He is one of the nicest guys you will ever meet. And I know I say that on a lot of these people, and there's some people that aren't so nice, and I don't deal with them. But Terrence Howard, he plays Bones in this movie. He's an Academy Award nominee, and wonderful actor. But I mean, I've talked to him on several movies. During this one, we interacted a lot, and just absolutely no ego at all. He would sit down and just talk to everybody, and just really nice guy. But when I did this sketch, I think this is the one, I saw him sort of across a room and got it when I could. And then actually, when we sat down, I kind of dolled it up a little bit because it was a little bit rougher earlier. And what is this guy's name? He's the director, Dallas Jackson. Yeah. I was the director, and that was the only thing I was ever able to get of him. And yeah, you can see that it was during that whole scare-demic. Wear a mask until you're acting or eating or whatever, and by magic the germs won't float around. Silly. But there you go. And the thing that torqued me the most during so much of this was that all of these beautiful faces, all these people's faces covered up with masks, and so everywhere I'd go, like something like this, invariably be covered up, and it just torqued me to no end. So don't get me started. Anyway, Samson and Brock. If you go out and you do sketching, sometimes you get to finish them, sometimes you don't. Sometimes your characters leave, sometimes the weather changes, sometimes you just got to get up and go. I'm not sure. I don't know who that is. That could be Tyrese Gibson. It could be a whole bunch of different people. I don't remember, because there would be people that would come up and I'd try to get a quick sketch and then they were gone. And, I didn't have time to do anything. And sometimes it looks like them, sometimes it doesn't. Now this obviously looks like Terrence, and a bunch of these others do. This one, I was in a hurry, and I believe I was in the dark and just didn't have a lot of the time. Oh, yeah. This was another great one of Terrence. That was really fun to do. That I was actually sitting at the table eating lunch with him. And so I was actually eating and drawing at the same time. I'm actually almost completely ambidextrous, and so I was eating with my left hand and drawing with my right, or swapping up. I don't care. But that's where I got that. Tom, great photographer, worked with him on different things, and Wolf, real nice guy. He it was real funny. You get to know these people and see, well, what are they doing? And Wolf would be over there writing. And finally I asked him, well, what are you doing? And he said he was learning cursive that he wasn't taught it at school, which I'm almost 62 years old. It's unfathomable to me the way the school systems are now. But the idea that they don't teach cursive is just incredible to me. You can see this note, super nice guy, everyone loved him. I wrote that while I was on set, so that shows you that was my first impression of him and what everybody thought of him. Focus puller, Stefan, from Poland. Isn't that cool? Um, Focus pullers, that's a really tough job and it's really cool. They're the ones that when the camera, um, really high-end movie cameras, they're not autofocus. Someone has to focus those things. And that is an incredibly difficult and unique skill. And a good focus puller is someone who, they earn a good living. And, because, when you see the camera zoom in on somebody, somebody's got to keep that focus or go in and focus it when it's out of focus and then get it in focus um, really quickly and really precise, or it ruins the shot. So that was great. And then another of Eddie's, he was the second AD. I don't remember. I didn't ever get this guy's name. I just remember he was really tall. I'm 6'1", and he kind of towered over me. There you go. There's Terrence Howard again, and that was real fun. Um, okay, Hawk. This guy plays Gillian, a guard, was a zombie in The Walking Dead. I was a big fan. I also played in Loki. I was a big fan of The Walking Dead for a number of years. Then when they killed Glenn and this went off the rails, I stopped watching. But the first few years of The Walking Dead, in my estimation, that and Breaking Bad are probably two of the best TV programs that maybe have ever been on TV. Um, but yeah, that was real neat, real neat. And then I think here's the last one. Um, oh, Scott. This is again where you just run into all these fun different people. Scott is an Assemblies of God minister, playing an extra, just dreams of acting. And this is where I try not to be nonchalant about being in this movie. Um, Again, that wasn't why I was there. I was wanting to do something else. Um, but I appreciate the fact that I've been given that opportunity, because there are guys like Stefan and Stacy, who works for a division of Medicaid. These are guys that I've seen them on other movies that I've worked on, where they've come in and auditioned just to be extras because they really want to be in the movie. So, I appreciate that it's a very unique opportunity. Oh yeah, Crichton, COVID compliance, AKA the nose bandit. Yeah, every day you'd have to go up and get that thing stuck up your nose, and so whatever. Um, but that's it. I just wanted to share this with you. If you go see the movie, I'm in and out. Although there is one scene where I was in, and apparently I get a lot of FaceTime. Okay, I was telling you about the last scene that I was in with this movie. I was in the pod, one of the pods. We had two pods, one for cast, one for crew. And I was able to go back and forth because I was both. But I was in there drawing people, and I was really enjoying it. And they said, "Mr. Wilson, we need you for this scene." It's like, okay, do you really need me that bad? Because it was the room, it's the dungeon, the big fight scene that you're going to see at the end of the movie. And there's like, God, like 60, 70 men in there. And I was like, do you really need one more guy? And they said, we really do. So I put it off until the end, until one of the people that wrangles the actors finally said, Mr. Wilson, you got to come. So I put my drawing stuff down and I went in. Well, it's in that dungeon. It's dark. And there was a circle of men around the room, because it's sort of like an octagon fight. Well, where the two combatants will be in the middle, and they're encircled by men. Well, there was 3 deep. And I thought, this is so cool. I'm going to slip in the back. They'll film a little bit, and then I'm going to sneak out because they won't even see me on the camera. Well, we're standing there, and the director is talking to the cinematographer, getting everything worked out. And then he looks over and he says, Terrence, Tyrese, y'all are here. Good. Y'all come on in. So they come in, and the director points to the guys in front of me, and he says, guys, I want you guys to move here and you guys to move over there. And I'm left standing there by myself. I didn't know which way to go. And before I could move, Terrence comes up on one side, Tyrese on the other, and the director says, stop. And he says, you three just come on up. And so I come up with him, and I wasn't nervous, I just didn't want to be there. And he says, okay, when y'all do your big talking scene before the big fight, you're going to y'all are going to talk to each other, and Mr. Wilson, you just stand right there, and of course don't look at the camera, and so they're going to go back and forth. And I thought, crud, I'm never getting out of here. And so they do their scene back and forth, and I knew then I was stuck. And so I was in there for hours while they were doing that and the other stuff. And what was interesting, when it was all said and done, I came out, and outside that room, there's a big monitor set up where the cinematographer and a whole bunch of people are watching, sort of in a closed camera setting. And my son was there. And as UPM, he's running the set. I mean, he's running everything. Pretty much everybody answers to the UPM. And I said, dude, I think I'm in a bunch of scenes. He said, no, Dad, you're in everything. I said, I didn't mean to be, because I didn't want it to look like nepotism or anything like that. I said, I didn't mean to be. I was there. And the next thing I know, everybody's moved, and I'm standing there by myself. He said, no, it's fine. If the director didn't like you, he'd have kicked you out and put somebody else in there. So that was cool. For the most part, my acting for this was, don't look at the camera, don't look at the camera, because the camera's just right there in your face, and they had 2 or 3 cameras going to the actors on either side of me. And my whole thing is, I have to act like I'm looking back and forth at them or looking off into space. The other thing, 2 things. One, I think his name is Lil Wayne. He is a rap artist that's in this movie. I forget that wrong. I apologize, but I think it's Lil Wayne, that you'll see he's up on a platform, that the reason that platform's up there is this was the gymnasium for the inmates. And there's a guard that would normally be stationed up there that he's looking down. You can't access him. He's like over 2.5, 3 stories high. And you can only get there by like a fire ladder or something. And so he's up there and he's watching everything and he's safe. Well, Lil Wayne's up there. And so he starts introducing when the fight's going to begin. And what's so cool, I love all music. Not a huge fan of rap. It's okay. But rap artists are really kind of some of the best poets today, and they're quick on their feet because they do rap battles, and so just off the top of their head, off the cuff, they have to come up with really snappy dialogue and comebacks and insults. And so they really didn't write anything for him. He was up there, and when he was doing the introduction, it was just off the cuff. And they did like 5 takes, and every take, not because he messed up, every take, it was just better and better and better. And he wouldn't duplicate what he had said. For the most part, it was like all new stuff. And so it was just so cool to watch that in action. But the other thing was, yes, acting can be fun, and yes, it can be neat being with all these celebrities, but also it can be very uncomfortable. And we were in that room for like 3 or 4 hours doing the same things over and over and over again. And we're supposed to relax between the scenes, and then we talk and just sort of very quietly, talk with each other, and then the next thing you got to turn your acting on. And we're supposed to be shouting kill, 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 and fight, 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 and then that's our scene, or our what we're supposed to say and do. Well, at first it's acting, but after a while you're really angry and you're really upset, and you don't care if someone gets killed, because you've been in there for 3 hours. You are hungry, you are tired, your feet hurt, and you got to go to the bathroom. And there were a bunch of us. It was like, what? We'd be talking like, what? If this director doesn't holler cut soon, we're going to have to leave, because we hadn't been to the bathroom in a while. And so, I hope that doesn't, shatter your the myth of acting, but that's a part of it. So that was my experience on the system. It was fun. I enjoyed it, and I just thought you'd like to see some of what I do. And if you see the movie, you can comment and let me know what you think. But I'm Bill Wilson, and I'm the Arthropologist. If you've enjoyed this episode of The Arthropologist, please hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more episodes like this, think about subscribing. I'm Bill Wilson, and I'm the Arthropologist.